Inseparable dog brothers can't find a home, rescue center makes one last call. These are the two adorable dogs that were rescued in Iran. Sadly for them, their mother was nowhere to be found, and they only had each other. This is why the rescuers knew that couldn't leave them out in the streets. While finding a home for these adorable dogs might not be such a difficult task, since they are young and cute, finding one for the both of them is nearly impossible. However, the animal rescuers didn't want to separate them since they loved each other. The two brothers were always together. Nothing could bring them apart, and the animal rescuers knew that they didn't want to be the ones to send them in different directions. This is why they decided to keep them around for a longer time. A couple of months flew by and the two brothers had yet to find a home. The problem started here because the Iran-based animal rescuers couldn't afford to keep the two brothers around anymore, even though they enjoyed their company. Since the two doggies were inseparable, the rescuers decided to name them Han and Solo, after the famous Star Wars character that is played by Harrison Ford. Nonetheless, without having any other options, the Iran-based animal rescuers decided to ask for help. The Iran-based animal rescuers called an organization from Los Angeles named Dogs Without Borders, who were more than happy to take Han and Solo in. They saw how happy the two dogs are, and they thought that they might have a real chance to find them a home. Han and Solo arrived in Los Angeles, but the travel didn't bother them. The only thing that mattered for them is to be together and to take care of each other. Unfortunately, one of the dogs got sick, and this made it even more difficult to find a home for them. One of the dogs got sick, and while the disease was not that harmful, it was contagious. This meant that he had to be separated from his brother and all the other dogs at the Dogs Without Border organization. On the bright side of things, the animal rescuers took the sick dog to the vet, and he was healed in no time. He was back with his brother, and now, the animal rescuers could start looking for a home for them. Han and Solo spent more than a month in the rescue center, and no one wanted to adopt them. This is when the animal rescuers decided to make one last plea. They created a social media post where they told the story of Han and Solo, and how they don't want to be separated. Thousands of people read the heartbreaking story of the two dogs, and they shared it with their friends and family members. Even though finding someone to adopt both dogs was nearly impossible, the fact that the social media post went viral meant that the dogs had a chance. A couple of days passed since the story of the inseparable rescue dogs went viral, and someone called the Dogs Without Borders Rescue Center. That person said that he wants to adopt both of them. Isn't that amazing? Han and Solo finally found someone to give them the love that they need. They finally have a place to call home, and the best thing about this is that they are still together. Han and Solo got lucky, and there is no doubt about that. There aren't that many people who are willing to adopt two dogs at the same time. Nonetheless, we are happy that this happened because we wouldn't want to see Han and Solo separated. The story of Han and Solo reminds us of another pair of dog brothers who ended up in the rescue shelter. Just like Han and Solo, these two dogs couldn't find someone to take them in because they were inseparable. These two are Adonis and Apollo. They have been inseparable since birth, and nothing can stand between them. Unfortunately, this is also making it much more difficult for the animal rescuers to find someone to adopt them. As you can clearly see, Adonis and Apollo share many similarities to Han and Solo. Fortunately, Adonis and Apollo got a bit luckier, and a good person heard their story and came to adopt them right away. Adonis and Apollo are lucky dogs, and there is no doubt about that. A woman heard their story, and she knew that she had to give them the chance to live a happy life, and to not separate them at all costs. Just like Han and Solo, Apollo and Adonis now have a place to call home, and a loving owner that gives them all the delicious treats that they could ever ask for. We are glad to let everyone know that this story has a happy ending. The two pairs of dog brothers are going to live a happy life alongside their new owners.
Thank you for watching this fantastic story. Please tap one of the two videos on your screen for another amazing wonder stories.